Replaces? All right. Let's do this. Have a good show, everyone. Stand by house to half and house out. House to half. Go. Lights 2 and house out. Go.
Friday, 5 p.m. We haven't done a new show in a long time. I've kind of forgotten how to do the entire show. I remembered to put the logo up there for Savannah Repertory Theater, and I remembered to run the pre-roll. My name is there on the wrong everything's changing, folks. It's 2021. We haven't done a new episode since the end of 2020. We showed some clips of previous episodes, our interviews with Michael Cerveris and Dolette McDonald, which had been so well received the first time. I thought, well, let's just do them again. And they were really well received the second time because those people are brilliant. Anyway, I'm really excited to be back for 2021. I was talking to our friend Chris Bass of Savannah Performance Project and saying how impressed I was that he had managed to get to like episode, I mean, jokingly, I'm going to say 20,000, but like it's at least 100. How he had gotten to that number of episodes when I got to 19 and was worn out, I will never understand. But I told Chris at the time at which there are guests that I want to talk to and that I would love for Savannah to get to know better, I will start the show back. This week, I chatted with today's guest, who was one of my favorite people, and was able to join us. And I said, this is the perfect time to bring the show back. We have a sponsor for OnStageOff. That sponsor is Ghost Coast Distillery. My eye is frighteningly in the O of Ghost right now. I did not realize that I had put the logo up that had transparency on it. Ghost Coast Distillery makes all sorts of fine alcoholic beverages for the fine people of Savannah, Georgia. They are not only our sponsor, but they will be providing a gift to our guest and the winner of today's game, which we are playing again for the first time since episode 2, when Bill Irwin and Carla Knutson and I got very confused about the rules of the game. Enough about all of this. There's a lot of people watching, and they would like to hear me introduce our guest. My first guest, and my only guest today, is a Tony nominee, a TV star, and as I said before, one of the kindest people on this green earth. Please welcome to OnStageOff, Geneva Carr. Hello!
Hi, Ryan. Hi, everybody. Hi, Savannah lovers.
Savannah lovers from all over. Now notice this backdrop I've put up is not Savannah, but is beautiful. I don't even know what this is. This is Glacier National Park, because we've been moving through backgrounds of fun North American locations, and that's what we have today.
I like it.
Geneva, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm just excited that you're here. We had hoped at one point to have you on last year, and with the unpredictability, that's the word I'm going to use to avoid talking about what 2020 was. With the unpredictability of the year, we weren't able to see you, so I'm so glad you're with us today.
Thank you. I've been lucky enough to film during 20 and 21. So that was probably what happened. Filming is very unpredictable right now.
Right, but when it happens, it's a really glorious thing. And I do have a question about that. I think these big sets, that are filled with hundreds of people, and obviously they have to have some semblance of that to keep going, to be able to get back. What was sort of your experience of knowing, where were you at in shooting when COVID started, and what was the first sort of encounter you had with someone on the production that said, I think we're going to start these wheels turning again? How did that sort of go down for you?
Well, March 13th last year was the last day of filming. And I had been very sick with a terrible cough, which turned out not to be COVID. Okay. But that week I'd had premieres and all kinds of things, and I didn't go to anything, so I didn't want to cough on anybody and make anyone feel bad. They called us the evening of March 12th and said, we're going to stop filming. Like everybody, I assumed it would be a couple weeks and we'd be back to work. And it wasn't actually until October that we went back to work. And our show, I'm on a show on CBS, 10 o'clock Monday nights, called Bull. And we embraced COVID in our world. Oh, there I am. We are in a COVID world. So we wear masks. Everybody on the crew, and there are over 100 people, they wear 2 masks and a shield. And then in the show, my character wears a mask, and occasionally we're unmasked. Mm-hmm. We had a flashback scene recently. So I had a little toupee that made me look younger. And I'm not kidding. And there were people in the background, but they made sure that every background actor was 6 feet apart. And if they weren't visible on camera, they were in a flesh-colored mask. And when I say flesh-colored, there's also every color under the sun, because there's all different shades. So it was pretty amazing. They have gone above and beyond to protect us. And the great thing is we've employed a lot of extra people. We have all kinds of people that make sure that we're safe, like little hall monitors. And the extras, we keep them for the entire season, and they work every single day so they don't work somewhere else. So I feel very good that we're employing people, we're keeping people safe, and we haven't had to shut down yet at all.
Which is incredible. Yes, yeah. All of this.
We're filming until the end of April. We're filming not quite a full season, 16 episodes. We usually do 23.
Right.
But, I mean, knock on wood, I'm extremely grateful.
And it's been curious to see. It's been interesting to watch which of the showrunners have chosen to, because obviously you're working in an environment where, as you said, you had a flashback, which doesn't involve the mask. Some of the shows have decided to come back, and the world of their show is going to have never experienced COVID. And then you've got shows like yours, and SVU is another great example of shows that are coming back, and we are very much in COVID for as long as it takes to get through. And I think it's fascinating to integrate that, as you're saying. You're integrating it as an actor into a performance while also having to follow all of this protocol every time you're off stage.
I think it was a big debate. It's funny that you're saying that. It was a huge debate whether or not we would do it. And our showrunner, Glenn Gordon Caron, who's a brilliant man, it was hard for him to wrap his mind around it. And I think that it's been a really brave decision. Every time an episode airs, people have a lot of opinions about whether or not it works. They hate it, they love it, they appreciate it, they don't. But I think it was brave. And for me as an actor, it's been easier, I think, because first of all, I'm not afraid I'm going to get it, which is a wonderful thing. I'm not worried about my coworkers more than myself, because of course I feel 25 and healthy. I'm worried about anybody else on set.
Right.
I feel better for them, but I think it's a brave way to embrace what's happening. And the magic of the show for me, Bull, that I'm on, is that it's everything that we're going through, everything that's happening in the world. The guy who writes it, he embraces all of that. And I love that. I love being in something that is heartfelt and topical and political and intense, because it makes people feel things and talk about it.
And that, yes, I feel that in its own way feels like it would be such a different, rewarding experience than a set where everyone is working so hard to erase the existence of this moment, which I know that internally we all wish to some degree that we could just do, that we could just think that it was different and that it hadn't happened. But I really do marvel at that, and I'm excited to see, as these episodes keep unrolling, the story that you're taking us on this season. Well, I would like to talk about theater for a little bit, since this is technically a theater show and you are a theater person of the highest degree. I've been trying to figure out ways to ask the same questions everyone else asks, but with enough of a twist that you don't have to come up with the same answer. So a question that I think happens at every high school talkback, or I think any talkback anywhere after a play, the question is, how do you memorize all those lines? I think that is the order in which you put those words to ask that question. So I have a spin on that question, and I want to talk about it in context to Hand to God, which is a beautiful show, which I have some pictures of there. There's you and Hand to God. And it's a show where things go remarkably askew.
Yes.
And then actually, this is one of my favorite pictures because it was years after I had seen the Broadway production where I realized that it's not being puppeteered by its puppeteer in this picture, and seems to be instead puppeteered by Sarah, which I think is really amazing. Because I had looked at that picture for so long and always thought, oh, it's just a fun, and then I realized it's even creepier somehow that he doesn't have control over Tyrone in that moment.
It is being done by Sarah. You're very
yes. Because a beautiful cast. We had Moritz von Stupelnagel, its director, on the show several months ago. We talked a little bit about the show, but I want to talk specifically about your character because your character goes on a journey. Your character has an arc that is pretty intense. So my version of the how do you memorize all the lines is when you're doing it multiple hundreds of times, what is your method for recovering the arc back to start every time you start the show? How do you forget everything that your character learned the previous night and just start over? Do you have a method for that, or is it just come, or how's that work?
First of all, that's an amazing question and observation. And every show is different. You and I are both actors. We're theater actors. We know that particular cast was the most game I have ever been with a team of players. And every single day it did start at 1. So Michael Oberholzer, who played Marjorie, for people who don't know what the show is about, yes. It's about a woman and a son. The husband and the father of her son has passed away, and they go to the church to get some kind of solace. And the preacher gets the mother to start a puppeteering class where we tell Bible stories. And one of the kids in the class, who's a little jerk, ends up, I take advantage of him. And it's a really intense thing. And the genius in the writing by Rob Askins is that these characters are not played by teenagers, where it would be disgusting if that's something like that happened. But we're able to examine what it means when somebody in their 20s or 30s plays that part. And Michael Oberholzer and I had some really intense, sexual, violent, emotional scenes. And every single day after we came off stage, like, that thing that I tried, you know, when I said that thing, did you hear the difference when I tried that thing? And we were doing that until the very last night. And so for him, he was really game. And I'm one of those people, I'm incredibly nervous, and I have to run lines every single night before the show. And actors would run their lines with me. And in a weird way, running the lines would wash away anything that had ever happened. They were brand new lines, and we were going to live them that night. So if there's a trick, that's my trick. And if I couldn't get someone to run with me, I ran them twice out loud myself before every show. Twice, you know, if I had a matinee and an evening show, that's just how I did it. And it almost would cleanse me of what had happened before so that I could live it again.
Which you did. Which you did. I kind of love that. We actually, I think we had a comment from Eric Bishop, who is the technical director of Savannah Rep, who says, I was in the middle of a sentence when he wrote this, which she was fantastic in. I had such the pleasure myself. I believe that is seeing the Broadway transfer, which actually leads to my next question, which is, I talked to Moritz a little bit about this as well. Because I had worked with Moritz at a show at MTC that ended up not transferring. I think it was a situation where the show was so perfect for where it was at the time that there wasn't that there was anything wrong with the show. It was just like, well, this was the production of the show. But in a situation like Hand to God, you had been with it previous to its transfer. I think our audience would be fascinated, if you don't mind, to talk a little bit about what it felt like the first time you sort of came across the show, and then what it was like experiencing the producers just sort of doubling down and saying, we're going to take this as far as it can go.
Well, that's a great question about what's the appropriate venue for every show, because every show shouldn't go to Broadway, but that doesn't reflect on the quality of the show. There are some shows that are more intimate. And in all honesty, I was very surprised that we were able to take such an intimate story to a big stage.
Mm-hmm.
But we did take it to a stage that seats just under 900, where some Broadway theaters are 2,500. So Hand to God was written by Rob Askins in 2011. He wrote it with Stephen Boyer and myself in mind. They would have these writing exercises where they would, take actors' names out of a hat and take titles out of a hat and write a short play. And he got to know the two of us and thought, what could I do with these actors? And he wrote this incredible play, and we had done readings of it. So another thing that happens in New York, and I hope that in Savannah you guys take advantage of this, it's a great way to develop new work and to hear classic plays, is to do readings. As an audience member, you come and you see a play and you hear it, but it's just as alive as if you're watching people act in it. And so Hand to God, we did all these different readings, different directors, different actors, and always fabulous, always funny. And when we got Moritz, we did a reading of it in Hamptons, and I knew we had the right director, because Moritz understands humor, but he will let a joke go to tell a meaningful story.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get as many laughs because it wasn't as slapsticky, but it was really deep. And so at the time, someone who had a podcast, not a podcast, she had a blog. She wrote a review of it. Somebody thought that she was important. She wasn't. And somehow he gave us some money. So we did a showcase. Now, a showcase is where you don't pay the actors, you give them subway tokens. So we did it for subway tokens for under 74 people. Incredible. Then we transferred it to an off-Broadway house that had under 200 seats, which was another, and we switched some of the actors. And then we went from that audience to just under 900 for another theater. And watching each place it went, the sets had to adapt, even our performances had to adapt. But I credit Rob Askins, the writer, and Moritz von Stuppenikel, the director. What was brilliant is they adapted the show for each venue. The first 10 performances off-Broadway and on Broadway, we were learning new lines, Stephen. And so when you say, how do you remember the lines? We were changing the ending. And I remember on Broadway, Steve, who is an incredible actor in every single thing he does, he was phenomenal in this. He was adamant that he didn't want to change things. And he had to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to change for a bigger audience to see it. And it was amazing to watch that happen and to be a part of watching something be intimate to allowing it to grow so that almost 900 people could share the story every night.
Right. Which, and I remember I saw it at a point, I saw it right after there was a very perfect, silly situation where someone had tried to plug a cell phone in on your set, which was a credit to your set designer, that there were enough outlets that some audience goer had wanted to charge their cell phone before the show started, and I had seen it right after, and there was the feeling in the audience had taken on something between the story and feeling like you were seeing something on Broadway that had made it to Broadway unexpectedly, just because it felt like it was like we were just talking about. It felt like it was a show that was Gary is another play that I think of, that when I went to see Gary, which is Taylor Mack's show. And I remember sitting there and I was like, I feel like I'm experiencing something dirty by seeing a play that is this much on this stage, But all to say that when I got to it, there was the audience was crackling, if that's the right word, and it was so cool because you go to a lot of Broadway and the audience is there prepared for the experience. And I remember thinking everyone sat down for that show, which I hadn't seen before. And everyone was like, I don't know what the heck this is, which was really fun.
We had people faint on
amazing
occasions. Crazy things happen.
Which is great for your press agents. That's great for your press agents, although bad for your liability insurance, I guess.
Well, the night that the guy tried to charge a cell phone because it took place in the church basement, and Beowulf, our set designer, who was genius, it really looked like, a Southern church. some drunken kid jumped up to put his, and I was backstage. So how they do it on Broadway is they had a camera so we could watch what was happening. And I saw someone jump on stage, but I saw our crew guys jump. It was like Black Ops. I mean, it was scary. But yeah, you just didn't know what was going to happen in the first few minutes, where it was this magic and you could feel it. And I think a lot of theater is like that. That is the magic of theater. That's why getting to do theater anywhere, it's never the same every single night. It's always that magic that you don't know what's going to happen. And every audience is different. If they're older, if they're younger, sometimes people are really vocal. It's fantastic. And that's why you do it. Because when you're working, when I'm doing the show, there's nobody laughing. We're filming.
Right.
I'd say applaud me. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. Because you knock it out of the park and yeah.
They're very kind to me.
Before I ask this next question, I want our audience to be able to compete when we play this game in a minute. So here's what we're going to do, because we haven't played a game in so long. Our sponsor, Ghost Coast Distillery in Savannah, Georgia. Go Ghost Coast, go.
Go. Yes. Ghost Coast.
So we are to be eligible for this game that Geneva and I are going to play. Please comment in either Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, wherever you're watching this. Please comment Ghost Coast ! And even better, if you're on Facebook, tag them with the @ symbol. I will. Oh yes, I think they're on. Let's find out together. Let's do it, Geneva.
Yes. I mean, isn't that what the kids are doing?
That's what all the kids are doing. Yes, the last. And by the way, Geneva, thank you for inadvertently, unless you've been on our website, thank you for inadvertently saying what you did about the way of that readings being the route towards both new works and class plays. Our new works program, which is led by Michael Jacinto, actually starts this Sunday with a reading that's being broadcast. So thank you for saying that on the week that it's happening.
They're the best. It's a way to discover old works when you can't afford to put on a play with 50 people. You do a reading of it. It's just amazing. Works that we could no longer produce, you can still hear. And they're just as good as if we had props. Okay, I found them. I followed them.
Oh, Ghost Coast Distillery. So on Instagram, it's Ghost. Let's see if I can
take a picture.
Yeah, there we go. So let me see if people are commenting. And I haven't even asked you the question. There's so much to do. I get very excited. The reason we brought this show back down to one guest at a time is I used to say it would be 3 guests in an hour, and that was not happening. And my guests were being so thoughtful. I had Rachel Chavkin on, and the guest before Rachel Chavkin was our dear friend Mary Chifo, who I think has the record of multiple appearances on this show. And Mary and I got off on a tangent, and I'm realizing, like, Rachel was supposed to be on 5 minutes ago, and Rachel, I see in the green room, starts eating dinner, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So this is a much easier model for me, because it means we just get to sit here and just talk. And I'm not worried about what's happening next, because Geneva, you are what's now, and you're what's next. So we have some people that are already coming in. I'm going to let that go for another minute. Donna, I'm glad that you watch Geneva every week. It's one of your favorite TV shows. I want you to be eligible for this contest or this game, so please write Ghost Coast in the comments, because if we don't have rules, it's all going to fall apart. Here's my question. So another question that gets asked at every talkback, and I'm sure you've had this question a million times in your career, is the who's a character that you want to play? Who's a character that you haven't played yet that you want to play? So my spin on it is not necessarily that specific question. It's a character that you haven't gotten to play yet, and it could be a completely made-up fictional character. What is the first thing, the opening entrance line you would like a character that you haven't yet played to say? Like, what line would be the type of play you would love to be in at this point? What would they say as they hit the stage?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know. It's the first time I've asked it. I literally just threw it at you because I was like, for me, it's like, we'll have no more of this is one. Like, I want to play a character that has a tie on and comes like banging through courtroom doors and goes like, we'll have no more of this. And like, whatever that track is, that's the track I want to play. So there's no wrong answer. I'm just kind of curious.
Say it to my face.
Yes, that's yours. And are you speaking to someone, or is it like?
Say it to my face.
Oh, what was that? What accent was that?
Well, I'm Southern. I'm from Georgia.
Are you from Georgia?
I am from Georgia.
Where in Georgia are you from, Geneva?
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Okay. I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, but I only lived there a few months.
Okay.
I lived in 11 states. My heart is absolutely Southern. My manners are Southern. I'm a Southern belle. I don't have the accent until I have at least one glass of champagne in me.
Which is a good thing that our sponsor is Ghost Coast Distillery, because that's
wait.
I'm taking a moment to put this, because I love this quote. Did you say my heart is absolutely Southern?
Yes.
Geneva Carr says, my heart is absolutely Southern. I like that. That makes me happy.
I have to say, I think sometimes Southern people get a bad reputation, and it irritates me because no one is more curious about other people than Southerners. And I think people don't realize that manners are a way to hear you better. I mean, everything about Southern hospitality is not about judging. It's about making you your most comfortable so you can be your most authentic self. And I've lived in half a dozen Southern states, and that is the way a Southerner treats another person. They put you at ease because they want you to be the star. And people sometimes misinterpret that.
You just described my entire life in New York. My sincerity is often called into question in the North, because sincerity, I was raised with sincerity by my family and by the people I grew up with. Sincerity is often a trigger for wanting something from somebody. Like you are more sincere to someone you expect something from. And I watch people put up the defenses, and when they finally take them down, when they realize that I'm just being me, that's a nice thing. So, yeah, but it takes a while with some people.
That is very interesting that you say that, because I don't have a Southern accent because my parents were from the Midwest. I've got that flat, newscaster voice. But I think Southerners can be misinterpreted. And personally, I love a Southern accent. Mm-hmm. And nothing grates on my nerves when people think that somehow means you're not educated. Because as you and I both know, an accent has nothing to do with education. I mean, It's just they do the same thing here in the city with that Tony Soprano accent, as if you're uneducated if you have that accent, which is not true at all.
Right. And it's interesting too, because it's not just an American problem, because I know that in Ireland that there are rural accents in Ireland that that many Dubliners consider to be that it's people that haven't read a book in their life. Like there's the stereotypes. And of course, to me, all Irish accents are equally beautiful. But it's amazing that it's something that if you live on a tract of land large enough, if you live in a place that is large enough to have developed accents, that the stereotypes will derive around them, no matter your best instinct, which is wild.
Right.
Yeah. This theater interview has turned into a whole different thing, Geneva. Thank you for that. I wanted to try to keep our show to 30 minutes because I want to be respectful of your time, and also have it be a link that people can come back and watch all of. Whereas there are some episodes of this show that are an hour and 27 minutes, and that's very long. So shall we play a game, Geneva?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm not really under pressure with games, but I'm going to try because I want someone to win this. Was it Excellent. John that has to win?
Yes. Can you pick a number between 1 and 3, please?
2.
Excellent. That is, I'm just going through. So you are playing for, I want to pronounce it correctly. You're playing for Donna Kennard.
Oh, Donna. Okay, Donna, I want this for you.
Who says Ghost Coast, because this is Donna, who loves your show, who also says Ghost Coast.
So spelling of that. Okay.
If you win this, you only need to get one of these 3 questions correct. If you win this, both you and Donna will receive a 750 milliliter bottle of your choice from I didn't have the logo right. From Ghost Coast Distillery.
Distillery.
750 milliliters, as I remember it, is a lot of, it's not a lot of wine, but it's a ton of alcohol. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a picture of a famous Savannah landmark, and I'm going to ask you what the colloquial name of this landmark is.
Oh, heavens.
This is a place in Savannah, Georgia. As you can see, that there are the sign that says Historic Steps. Now, is this colloquially known as the Up and Down Stairs, the Stone Stairs of Death, or the Staring Contest?
The Up and Down Stairs.
They are actually known as the Stone Stairs of Death, and they have a massive Facebook presence and a merch line. It's true.
Why? Because people die on them?
We don't think anyone's actually ever died, but it's I have walked them after consuming alcoholic beverages because they lead to the bar district of River Street, which you know the city. So they lead down to River Street, and you want to go very slowly.
Wow.
If you have been consuming. So the Stone Stairs of Death. We don't think anyone's actually died. You still have two questions. I'm going to show you the picture of a statue to a very famous person, and we will both be visible as we look at this statue. Is this a statue to John Wesley, Gene the Dancing Machine, or acclaimed theatrical director Moritz von Stülpnagel?
It looks a lot like Moritz, but I am going to go with John Wesley.
Geneva, you are correct. That is the founder of Methodism. He has a tourist license. I think that's what he did. John Wesley. Geneva, may I still ask you the third question, even though you've already won? May I ask you the third question? Because
see, the amazing thing about Savannah, having been there and filmed there, is the trees.
Mm-hmm.
The foliage in Savannah is unbelievable. I think I should get a pied-à-terre there, but go ahead. Third question. I really want Donna to get this. I'm afraid they're not going to give it to her.
Our associate artistic director, Nick Corley, famed actor and director, wonderful human being. Nick has been obsessively sending myself and board member Ellie Pyle real estate listings for the last couple of weeks. So if you are serious about a pied-à-terre, he knows what everything in the city is being sold for because he loves looking at his thing is looking at the beautiful, like the buildings that have keystones of like 1800, 1810, like these beautiful mansions, which are like $500,000.
Well, next to New York, that's nothing though.
Yeah, so it's like, just go down there and you can, a pied-à-terre that is 4 stories tall. That's what we're talking about.
Wow.
Anyway.
Was there a third question, or does Donna already get her booze? I want to make sure.
Well, Donna already gets her booze, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway, if that's all right.
Okay.
I'm going to show you this is a square. This is a square called Green Square. There's a picture of green.
I know it very well. I shot on that square.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Well, the question was literally, have you been to Green Square?
Yes, I filmed there.
I didn't know that. That was where you shot the thing that we were talking about before the show. Oh, my goodness.
The show with Mark Feuerstein. He's a doctor in the Hamptons. What's it called? I'm the worst.
Royal Pains, is that
Royal
it?
Pains.
Royal Pains.
Down there.
So the question was, have you been to Green Square? Which you just won. I don't think we have 2 bottles, but we definitely, for everybody, but we do have the one. So Geneva, we'll talk after the show about where to send yours, and I will need to talk to Donna because Donna, Ghost Coast fanatic Donna, has won.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you for watching Bull as well.
Yes, and just in case anyone forgot, when does that
10
air?
Monday night on CBS. Did I say that correctly? 10 p.m. Monday night on CBS.
And that's
Monday
Eastern
night on CBS, 10 p.m. Bull. New episode this week. And by the way, there's a big flashback scene coming, which is really cool. It's the origin story.
And it's this Monday.
That one's not this Monday. It's coming.
Okay. But we should watch it. We should watch it. We should start watching it if we aren't watching it already. We should start watching it immediately so we know where we're at when we get to the flashback.
We hire a lot of New York actors.
Well, that's the best thing in the world because they're a good breed of people.
Yes. Yes.
And Geneva, it has been an absolute treat and delight to talk to you today.
Listen, I have to say, I hope that I get to work with you in Savannah. I hope I not so subtly put my hat in the ring, and I really hope I get to come do a reading or a show, or the next time I go to Atlanta to visit my BFF, we will drive to see you guys, and I will come see your work, because Savannah's a gorgeous city, and I would love to support the arts down there. There's so much great artwork already, but theater, next step.
Yes, that is the perfect way to end this, because my heart just like flew out of my chest. Thank you, Geneva. And we will look forward to that. We have a really cool cast company housing, and we're working on another one. So maybe by the time you come down, we'll have one of those 4-story buildings for you.
Is there a donate link or something? Can people give $5 or whatever they can? Because I'm a big believer in spread it out there, $5, $1, I'll give more than that, but that's how you get the arts going, is everybody just joins in. So
yes,
make sure you send me a link. Do we have it?
We do, and I'm going to type it really quickly into it's SavannahRep.org/support. I'm going to just put that in real quick. Hang on, Savannah.
Because people don't realize, even if you have $1 or $5, that's a nice thing to do, and I will give you more because I really believe in what you're doing. But thank you. I think it's a nice way to say, everybody's trying to do something, and then we're all a part of it, because theater represents everybody.
It does, and I think that's why we're so excited to come back downtown, which is we had talked about before the show is a big thing that's happening for us in the next couple of months. Is the Savannah. It's for everyone, but the more centralized you can put the home base of where that is, it's like you can be the spoke of the wheel, or you can be the fulcrum, and I think being able to be literally a block away from the 2 largest performing arts centers in the city creates, for the first time in 2 decades, an actual arts district that supports and sort of expands the community. So I appreciate you going to that link, and to everyone watching going to that link as well. And it's actually amazing you said, Geneva, because what we do as the post roll on this show is show the video, which it feels like ages ago now. It's a video we made when COVID started that was saying that we were planning to come back, and we were asking for your help. So I always show that video, and now it's the perfect segue because we've had this great talk. Geneva Carr, I'm going to say goodbye to you, because otherwise we're just going to sit here and talk. I'll call you afterwards and say thank you and figure out where to send your bottle.
All right. And Donna, I'm glad she got her booze.
Okay, bye. My guest today was the incredible Geneva Carr. That just made my heart so happy. The entire interview, but these last 5 minutes. If you have not seen Geneva on screen, then you have the chance. Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not seen Geneva on stage, that is a treat that I hope you will be able to in the very near future. And if that's New York, or if that's in Savannah, we'll figure that out and get back to you. I'm going to take this link off. I'm going to take this logo down. We're going to run this post roll, and then we're going to say goodbye to you for today. And I'm not sure when our next show will be, because we've decided to book it when amazing guests are available. But we'll be back to you very soon. And in the meantime, thanks so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you soon. These are unparalleled times. In the heart of Savannah, it felt as if the hands of the clock stopped moving. Forsyth Park strangely empty, Broughton Street quiet, River Street deserted. And we wondered, what happens next?
Nationwide, every performing artist, director, designer, stage manager, and crew member have been left without the opportunity to pursue their passion for live theater. But it is also a unique moment to combat our fear of the unknown with renewed diligence for hard work and for those we love.
We must take care of each other to see this through together. Savannah Repertory Theater has produced 3 years of ambitious, imaginative, professional theater for Savannah. And our family grows larger with every production.
Savannah Rep is proud to help define excellence in Savannah's ever-growing list of artistic venues. Live theater isn't going anywhere. It survives everything and becomes a record of our history. We will return.
To our generous patrons and season card subscribers, you keep this dream alive and growing. And to the many artists who have shared our stages, you challenge us, entertain us, and thrill us. Soon we will be together again.
The Ghostlight A single bulb left center stage after each performance has traditionally served as a supernatural offering to those who came before us and those we have lost, to ensure that the theater, their theater, never goes dark.
That the magic of theater continues. Theaters from Broadway to the West End, Los Angeles to Savannah may be closed for now, but their ghost lights remain lit.
Our spirits remain hungry, our responsibilities clear. We look at this as an opportunity, a chance to build on the work we've done.
A chance to embrace our theatrical roots and create new adventures.
What we do now paves the way for the years to come, for the Savannah Rep of the future.
We promise that the ghost light will burn brightly until it is safe to begin again.
It is our responsibility to carry on the traditions that precede us. We are Savannah Rep.
A home for great stories and great theater. The hands of the clock will move again, and this is not the end of the story.
It's a new beginning.
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 And we'll see you soon.